In this video, we're going to look at how to balance equations. One of the common mistakes that people do is that they change the small number when they balance equations. So just to give you an example, we have water, which is H2O. Okay? Some people will start to change the number, the small number, in order to balance the equations. As soon as we do that, that becomes a different substance. This is no longer water, and it is hydrogen peroxide. So we can only change the big number at the front and not the small number. Okay? So let's give you an example. Imagine if we had hydrogen and that reacts with nitrogen to give you ammonia. Okay? A really good way of remembering how to do this is to draw out the individual atoms. So hydrogen is H2, so we have two hydrogens, and we're going to put them inside a bubble so that we can't do anything to it. We can't modify the numbers inside that bubble. Okay? With nitrogen, there are two N's, and that's in its own bubble. And with nitrogen, there's one nitrogen and three hydrogens. I'm going to protect that in their bubble. Okay. Now, at the moment, we have two nitrogens here on the left-hand side of the arrow, the reactants, but we only have one nitrogen on the right-hand side. So we can't change the small number, so we can't just add another, we can't change what's inside the bubble, but we can add another molecule of ammonia. So we need another set of these, that whole set. So now we have two nitrogens on the right, two nitrogens on the left. But now we've got 6 hydrogens on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we've only got 2 hydrogens on the left. So what we're going to do is we are going to add one more of these and another one to make 6 hydrogens. So now we have 2 nitrogens here, 2 nitrogens on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hydrogens on the left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hydrogens on the right. So they're all balanced. So now what we need to do is put the big numbers on the front. So we have 1, 2, 3 hydrogens. We have 1 nitrogen. Now we don't need to put a number 1 there because the fact that it's there shows that there's 1 already. And we have 1, 2 lots of ammonia. So now we have our balanced equation. Okay, so that's quite a nice one to get started. What we're going to do is we're going to have a go at a different one. Let's just rub this out. Okay, let's have another go. So we start with, let's say, calcium plus water produces calcium hydroxide and hydrogen. Okay, now again we use our same method. So we've got a calcium inside its own bubble, we've got a hydrogen which is 2 hydrogen, sorry, you've got water which is 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen inside its own bubble. Then we have calcium. Now the brackets tells us that there are 2 of everything inside the brackets, which means we have 1 OH and 2 OH. Yep, so put that in a bubble, and then we have 2 hydrogens at the end. Okay, right, let's start with the oxygens. So we've got 2 oxygens on the right hand side, we've only got 1 on the left. We can't change what's inside the bubble, we can't just add an extra oxygen atom. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another set of water molecule. Okay, so now we have 2 hydrogens, sorry, 2 oxygens, 2 oxygens. So they're balanced. How many hydrogens have we got on the left? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many hydrogens on the right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're balanced. And we've got 1 calcium on the left and 1 calcium on the right. So if we were to balance these, we'll have 1 calcium, 2 water molecules, 1 calcium hydroxide, and 1 hydrogen gas molecule. Okay, let's have another go and see if we can balance a further example. So, if we have aluminium plus oxygen to give us aluminium oxide, pause the video and I want you to have a go at balancing this equation, and then once you've completed it, unpause the video and then we can go through to see whether you've got it right or wrong. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at balancing the equation. So let's go through this together. So let's put our atoms inside these bubbles. So we've got aluminium, aluminium, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so at the moment we have 3 oxygens on the right and we've got 2 on the left. Okay, so we need to balance this out. So what we can do is we can add another one of these sets, but now we've got 4 and 3. So what we need to do is have another set of oxygen atoms, one oxygen molecule, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oxygen atoms. We've only got 3 over here, so what we can do is we can get another set of these. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oxygen atoms, and on the right we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oxygen atoms. So the oxygen atoms are balanced. But what about the aluminium? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only got 1 aluminium over here. So what we need to do is add another 3. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all that's left to do now is to put the big numbers on the front. So we need to put 4 aluminiums, 1, 2, 3, lots of oxygen molecules, and we've got 1, 2 aluminium oxides. So hopefully you've got that correct. If you're still having trouble, then I suggest you go back and practice with some of the earlier examples until you are comfortable with balancing equations.